Warning, we're going to be discussing events for currently running weekly anime.
If you want to avoid spoilers for certain shows, there are timestamps in the description.
Welcome back to the Timesink Anime Podcast. We are now, we're no longer an anime podcast. We're specifically going to be doing ASMR videos.
No, we're not. We're not doing that.
You hear that paper crinkling? Does that make your ears tingle? We just did that. We just fucking switched.
Yeah, just out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, fucking a year. It was a year and a half.
Well, actually, April Fool's is actually coming soon. Well, so yeah, imagine that.
Yeah, I just spent a year and a half doing anime podcasts, and one day we're like, ASMR, yeah.
Yeah, just suddenly. Anyway,
10 hours of soft chica noises.
So as Oh god, that'd be the worst ASMR video ever.
I think you blew the mic out on that one.
Welcome
back to the Timesink Anime Podcast. We're talking about week 13 of winter 2019. The last week.
Yep, last week. It's been an emotional week for sure.
Oh my god, yeah, so many good finales.
Yeah, so many good finales, and a couple shows that aren't technically over. They will be carrying over into the first week of spring 2019.
Yeah.
But
I'm Rex. And
I'm Jay. How's it going?
Yeah. I've been spending probably a majority of the last 24 hours in virtual reality. Because I recently got a Vive. And it's just oh man, this is the future. I don't ever want to leave. So I think I spent 3 hours in a row just trying to perfect the Chica ending song in Beat Saber. And by the time I was done with that, I was just drenched. It's a good workout.
Yeah, fun. No, the Vive is a great workout. I've tried it a couple times. It's pretty fun. I've always had my reservations about virtual reality, but it's fun. I agree that it is very fun. It takes the right game, I guess. And just the technology's getting better, and that's a good thing, I think. Anyway, so news for this week.
So first up, we got something probably most people know by now. The Promised Neverland is is confirmed for a second season sometime in 2020.
Yeah, to no one's surprise, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about the finale in a bit when we get there, but I definitely say it deserves a second season, and I can't wait for it.
No kidding. Apparently, according to a good friend of ours, the manga is still ongoing. It is in its final arc, according to the author, and if they wait until 2020, they think that it's possible that the final season, or next season rather, will probably just cover the last few arcs of the story. Probably will be able to be fit into a 36 episode series total, including this first season, so a 2-core second season.
Yeah, whatever that may entail.
Yeah, I'm super looking forward to it nonetheless. It was confirmed right after. Was it either right after or right before?
I think it was the same day that the finale aired.
Yeah.
It was posted up on social media and stuff.
Nobody's surprised by this, right? If you
I was a little surprised that it got confirmed immediately. I figured they'd give it some room to breathe, kind of see how the audience felt about all of it. But they're confident enough about it, I guess.
Yeah, no kidding. I am totally looking forward to that next season. It has
not next season
or next
year.
Yeah, I didn't mean next season.
Oh,
I meant
the next season.
Yeah, the next season of the show, not anime season.
So the next Dororo OP is going to be performed by Asian Kung Fu Generation.
Oh, they're the ones behind the Erased OP.
Yeah, Erased. I think they did a Naruto OP.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm sure
everyone's done a Naruto OP.
Yeah, that's true. I remember being a pretty big fan of them when I was a wee lad watching Naruto and Bleach.
You mean a wee blad?
A wee blad, yes. So it's probably gonna be really good. I think they put out a preview for it, but I'm not gonna spoiler myself. Spoiler.
Yes,
I'm not gonna spoiler myself for the opening. I like watching the new openings as I watch the new episode.
Yeah, and being either saying, "Oh yeah, this is awesome," or "Oh shit, this is kind of lame."
Yeah, well, they've got a hell of an opening to follow up on, because his first opening for Dororo was kick ass.
Yeah, I absolutely adore that opening. I very rarely go out of my way to look up the full versions of songs to series, and only for OPs that I really really like. Dororo is one of them. So, yeah, that's a good sign. I actually have a big piece of news. I don't know if you were thinking about covering this.
Evangelion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure everyone else has already heard about this as well. The Netflix cover of Evangelion, license of Evangelion, will not be reprising the original voice cast for the show. So, no Spike Spencer as Shinji, no Tiffany Grant as Asuka, no Amanda Wynn Lee as Rei, and no Allison as Misato. It's kind of the shame as somebody who's been a longtime fan of the series because because those voices are so iconic, and they're still using most of the cast in the rebuild movie, so it just kind of begs the question, why, I guess. It's bizarre to me.
So I don't want to get anyone's hopes up, but there's a petition going around. It's being shared by Tiffany Grant and Spike Spencer. I think Kyle Hebert, Hebert, I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
It's Hebert.
They're all sharing around the petition.
That was a while ago.
I just saw it recently.
They started sharing that petition a while ago, though. It might be a resurgence, but
it currently now has. Whoop, I forgot to fucking turn notifications off on my phone. It currently has about 5,000. It has over 5,000 supporters right now on the petition. I mean, change.org petitions don't always do anything really.
They really don't.
But it'll at least probably make Netflix see the petition.
I don't know, because here's the thing. As far as I understand, they weren't even really up for a consideration, because I follow a lot of voice actors, and as far as I know, Amanda Wynn Lee didn't even get a chance to audition for it. I'm not entirely sure. But as far as I could tell, kind of searching for her through her Twitter feed, there was no indication from her that she actually was even allowed to audition for the series. So I don't know if Netflix wasn't even really considering them from the get-go, or there was contractual issues or obligations somewhere else. I have no idea. Now, the thing about it is Netflix typically goes through California, which, because of Bang Zoom, is there, and most of the voice actors are centered in Texas, I want to say. So that's possible.
Yeah, it could just be a location thing.
Could be a location thing. It could be
contract reasons.
Maybe they're not going to be maybe they're still going to be on the rebuild movies. I hope so, because I'd be really disappointed if they changed those too. Because, like I've said, the voices are iconic. Now, the last thing I'm going to say, that just because they're changing the voices, I don't necessarily think that's going to be a terrible thing. I'm upset and disappointed about it, but I'm hopeful. Because I think that for people who have never seen the show, it's going to be a new way to introduce people to the series.
Yeah, it's not going to make a huge difference for people who've never seen it anyways.
Yeah, the only reason it's such a big deal to so many people is because it's such an iconic series and has so many fans, and these are the voices that these people watched it with.
Yeah, and a lot of people watched it growing up.
Yeah,
probably.
Exactly. I watched it when I was in high school.
Yeah, I mean, I can just imagine going back and watching a re-release of Yu Hakusho without Justin Cook as Yusuke.
Oh, man!
Because, I never watched it subbed. I watched it dubbed growing up because I was a kid and didn't know a lot about anime. But I could just imagine, how upset I would be about that. So I can definitely feel what the fans are coming from.
And another good friend of mine was talking about, I told them about this, and they even said it was kind of like that when Sailor Moon Crystal came out, because there was a completely different voice cast for Sailor Moon Crystal. None of the original Scouts reprised their roles.
God, that was the original was a terrible dub, though.
It was terrible, but it was still iconic, and even for Evangelion, the kind of looking back, I'm sure some of the voice actors listen to some of their recordings and think, "Oh man, that was terrible," because they've gotten so much more experience under their belts. And
I'm sure. But let's not spend all day
anyway
talking about that.
So the short version of this. Evangelion is not going to be recasting its people. It's a little disappointing, but I'm still hopeful. I wonder what you guys all think. Leave a comment if you think that it'll be good, bad, or if you're going to watch it or not. Who cares? For me, I only see good things from it. And if I don't like the new voices, I guess I'll just watch it subbed or something.
So, first of all, we're starting off this week with the finale of Boogiepop and Others.
Man, the show has been confusing.
Yeah, it ended exactly as confusing as it started.
But that's not really a bad thing.
No,
me.
yeah, I'm probably gonna go watch it again
Mhm.
in my own time, just in like maybe 1 or 2 sittings, just because I feel like I missed a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, because Boogiepop is definitely, we've said it before, like quite a few times this season. This is definitely a show that you have to be like paying attention for.
Exactly, like you can't just turn this on and like well, I mean, with subs anyways, you can't just turn something on, but you can't just like half-ass it when you're watching the show. You gotta like put on your thinking glasses and
Yeah, exactly. Your thinking mask.
Mm-hmm.
Got to protect those brain waves.
I guess, or you could just enjoy Smuggy Pop. But
yeah,
I mean,
enjoy Smuggy Pop.
There's so much that happened. Yeah, you called it last week with Shiro being the King of Distortion.
Yeah, I don't know if this was intentional, but like I said last week, I thought it was way too convenient that he knew exactly where to go in the Moon Temple and was the one pointing it out. I was just like, that's a little bizarre that he kind of just seems to know that and is just guiding Mabara to that. And so yeah, I called it.
Yeah, good job. I'll concede defeat on that one. Because I thought that he was just like in the dream world because everyone else had those eyes.
Yeah.
And it turns out that the little boy wasn't the one who created Tsuragi. It was Shiro who created Tsuragi from the little boy's memories.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So the little boy didn't have powers, Shiro has powers.
Mm-hmm. That makes a little bit more sense, but it's still a lot to take in because there's just so much going on here. We don't entirely know what the TOA organization is or what their aim is, really, but we got introduced to a lot of characters as well, or reintroduced to a lot of characters that I hadn't thought about since the very first arc of this series. Kamishiro, Aoki Kamishiro, whatever her name was.
Which one is that?
Naoko Kamishiro was the girl who had died during the Echoes incident.
Oh yeah,
the girl that who had admitted.
Was that the Man-Eater?
No, that was the
girl who got killed by the Man-Eater.
The girl who got killed by the
Gotcha.
Manticore. Yeah. And that was what kind of spawned this whole King of Distortion incident, was because Shiro cared about her, wasn't entirely sure how he felt about her, even though she was clearly head over heels for him, and he had felt guilty that he just wasn't able to really read those feelings or didn't know how to respond to them or didn't even really know how to reciprocate them, so his power evolved from that, which I think is super fascinating.
Yeah, I didn't... Based on how the show just kind of jumps around everywhere, I didn't expect them to bring back tie-ins to previous parts. Yeah. I mean, I definitely think it wrapped up the series pretty well, and kind of by bringing it back, it kind of gave us a kind of a closing point to this part of the story.
Yeah,
because I did a little bit of research, and apparently this season of Boogiepop, these 18 episodes that was released, it covers like 3 or 4 books.
Yeah, 3 or 4 light novels.
And each of these arcs was named after and made after the light novels themselves.
Yes, which I think is really cool. The thing about Shiro's power was the way that Boogiepop put it, and I thought was very interesting. It's the ability to amplify a fragment of a person's heart and then draw it out, and resonate with it, which is pretty much exactly what he was doing, and why all these people, like all these different memories, like Nitoki seeing Misami and Sakiko seeing her dead friend that she felt guilty over. It all makes sense now from this point forward, and I always like that about Boogiepop. Like, just like all the weird psychological shit that goes on. It's basically Monogatari. It's like a more serious version of Monogatari, I think.
Yeah, I can see how it kind of feels that way. So, Boogiepop, once again, using non-violent means to subdue her targets.
Yeah.
It's like the characters are fascinating to me because in the beginning of the show, I just thought it was this kind of character that would run through and, kill everything, kill all the monsters, etc., etc. But when Boogiepop was face to face with Shiro, when they were up in like the sky, or whatever, she actually stopped or they actually stopped and instead it's like, I could kill you right here and now, but I don't think you're one of those.
Yeah,
threats.
I don't think you're one of those.
I think
people.
You're just a stubborn kid.
Yeah, you're just being a little stubborn right now, which it kind of was. And basically, this whole King of Distortion thing happened because it was Shiro's own guilt that had become distorted, and that's why it took form in the way that it did.
Yeah, I think it was like his power subconsciously activating on himself.
Yeah, and going
Pretty
kind of
much.
out of control. Because, as Boogiepop said, you're still young, you're still naive in your power, and you don't have control over your powers yet.
Did it explain how Shiro ever got in contact with the tour organization guy?
Taratsky? I don't, as far as I know, no. Like,
No, I don't think they directly...
I think
addressed it.
I think they alluded to the idea that the two of them had met at some point. Like, he had gone to the Moon Temple before. I don't entirely know what it was, though. I'm not sure if the series ever addressed it. It might have, and I just might have missed it. Because there's so many things that you can miss in the show.
What's her face? Sakiko. So when she met up with Boogiepop later in the episode, I'm really confused because she's like, well, will I see you again? And then when Boogiepop says no, and then Sakiko says, well, what if I become your enemy?
Yeah.
And then Boogiepop's like, well, okay, well, I won't hold back. And then as she's walking away, Sakiko just kind of smiles to herself.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of makes me think that Sakiko still wants to get killed by Boogiepop. So she's probably going to try and do something that's going to make her an enemy to the world.
Maybe. Or maybe she's just even thinking about how it's not really... How Boogiepop really isn't the monster that the urban legends have basically been building it up to be. And maybe it's a little bit of closure on that. Like, maybe because I think she's finally being able to move forward past her guilt. Like, because that's what it seemed like the last few minutes of this episode were just, kind of closure on everybody's arc.
Yeah, that's true.
Like Kay's arc was basically, oh, I have a crush on my friend's boyfriend, and I was kind of upset that he didn't have those feelings for me. But she seemed to get over that, and they kind of acknowledged it and kind of swept it under the rug in the most roundabout way possible. Like, I wasn't coming here for you, sort of deal.
I mean, that's like the teenage girl thing.
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
And
although I think she kind of cut it off pretty in a healthy way.
No, I agree. Like, it was... I'm not saying, like, she was being petty about it or anything. She was basically just doing, like, how also just Japanese people typically do. Just kind of, not real... Kind of in the most roundabout way possible, kind of get what they're going for, I think.
Where do you get that metric from?
I studied communication for, like, 4 years, and that's a pretty common thing.
Okay.
Japanese people typically aren't always the most... they're very much a read the atmosphere culture, which is why they try to save face as much as possible. That's why they're like we said a few weeks ago, like how they're trying to out-polite each other all the time and trying to basically maintain a status quo. Like, they don't want to make things too awkward, so that's what Kay is trying to go for, I think. So that's why she was kind of roundabout in her, I'm over you sort of deal. She didn't directly say it. She kind of wanted him to figure it out, I think.
It was actually, it's really interesting seeing these mundane problems, like with Nitoki, about how her major conflict in this big supernatural series was getting over a guy she likes.
Yeah.
It kind of brings like a personal element to the otherwise ridiculous supernatural nature of the show.
Yeah.
Like other characters just trying to deal with crap like that.
Yeah, can I, speaking of Kay, can we just acknowledge that it's actually kind of adorable how Kay refers to Boogiepop as just Boogie?
Boogie.
Yeah, just like as a nickname.
Little Boogie.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just a nickname for them.
Yeah.
Like, they're on such a friendly basis.
Probably counts, I was assuming Boogiepop would count her as like another friend. Besides Takeda.
Exactly.
The ending was, I don't know. I still don't... maybe they explain this whole phantom world in, like, the books or in the other anime series, but the ending was just Boogiepop sitting there and, I think it was Takeda?
Yeah, Takeda goes up.
Her.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what I personally took away from that is it's the same world that Echoes had gone to. I think that it's basically just like the place that Boogiepop goes to when it's dormant inside of Toka. It could all just be inside Toka's mind, maybe, or like it's just an existence that just will pop up on occasion. And Boogiepop, I imagine that's basically just the dormant state in Toka's mind. Maybe how Boogiepop. That's how Boogiepop, the personality, is sort of processing things. Maybe and when it goes into retreat.
Maybe Takeda was there because I know that they were on a train, and God, what's her face?
Toka
was like kind of asleep, and maybe Takeda also fell asleep, so he popped up in there. And then Boogiepop gives the line at the end of the show of "The threat is gone, Takeda-kun."
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that means Boogiepop's probably gonna just go to sleep for a while.
Until a new threat shows up, because I'm pretty sure the Boogiepop series goes on past this. Like, I'm sure there's a lot more source material.
From what I could tell, there's like 15 books, I think.
Yikes. And I think this covers, like, somewhere in the middle of all those. Because I think Boogiepop Phantom covers stories from the very beginning. But, anyway, Boogiepop and Others, really good show. I was fascinated by it every week. Next up, Dororo. We get the climactic showdown between father and son, brother against brother, all, like bald priest guy versus demon statue. I don't know. I don't know how to drag this out any further, but basically, shit hits the fan this episode. This is like the end of the core, and it's setting it up for the next core, which, oh my god, this episode is actually kind of depressing at times.
Yeah, it was really interesting seeing Hyakimaru struggle with like who his family was.
Yeah.
Because he definitely had a chance to kill his dad
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning, and he like jumped on his shoulder.
Jumped on like behind, like on his horse, like behind him, and was getting ready. That was a really cool scene because when there was just like that flash where Daigo kind of looks behind him and he just sees that like creepy, like deformed baby behind him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was just a nice little touch. I thought it was very creepy.
But there was that. We had Tahomaru's internal struggle of whether he should save his brother from the unfair fate that he was dealt, or kind of just protect his people.
Yeah.
Which is a really shitty thing to have to decide about. And then there was also his mom, who was just riddled with guilt over having done that to her own son.
Yeah, having done that to her own son and her inability to save him, and just like how she had basically done nothing but pray for like 16 years, hoping that something would change, and nothing ever did. She had continued to reap the benefits of it all while having done nothing, and that's why she was so guilty. I had really liked how that had resolved too, because the goddess statue goes dark after like one of the big moments in this episode when she stabs herself. It had like this green aura about it.
Yeah, like dims out.
Yeah, it dims out and just disappears.
I don't think it disappeared. I think it just dimmed a little bit.
So yeah, because the monk had looked around like the Hall of Hell, and for one thing, he's like, the Lord of this land had slayed the demons. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it was like, obviously it's obvious to us,
but yeah, but that was just the priest confirming what the audience had already known.
Yeah,
but and then he said something that was kind of ominous. Well, there's only one being bound so far. Like, that's only still slightly bound. I'd hate to see what happens.
The big baddie demon in the back.
Yeah,
which I think is freed by the end of this episode.
I think so. It very well could be. But I don't know. The other really weird thing about this episode was when Tahomaru went into the Hall of Hell, because he was thinking about breaking his father's deal with the demons. I kind of wonder, he got like pushed violently out of it. I was wondering if there, like, because his viewpoint had kind of changed after that visit, so it made me wonder if maybe the demon had done something, like it had planted visions in his head of before or something, kind of to show him what the land was like before his father made that deal. So,
yeah, I mean, that could definitely be possible, because it did seem like it just switched from him wanting to save his brother to immediately wanting to save his people.
Yeah, and like a lot of people like are I think being kind of critical of Tahomaru, but no, he's a very real character, and he's just a victim of circumstance, much like his brother. Like, because Daigo doesn't see his sons really as anything more than tools to further his own ambitions. That's all he sees Tahomaru as. Yeah,
I find Tahomaru's conflict fascinating. Just like he has such a hard decision to make between saving his brother and saving his people, because like, sure, you could say, yeah, I'm going to do the right thing and go save my family member, but if I do the quote-unquote right thing, then all these people are going to starve to death.
Yeah, even his father points that out. So are you really willing to throw our people, not your own people, our people back into hell just so that you can remain innocent? That's a pretty big... Basically, that's a really hard thing to put on a 15-year-old kid. Forget that he's 15.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely easy to forget that, especially when he almost killed a crab by himself.
Yeah.
A giant crab monster.
Yeah.
I should specify crab monster.
Yeah, and then Hyakimaru is 16. Think about that. But I think that the scene when his mother basically says, we have to just beg for forgiveness, pretty much, that was really well handled. For one, the voice actor did a really good job selling that, and the animation was handled really well, too. Like, when she prostrates herself and starts, like grabbing at the ground, like, you can actually see her fingers start to bleed with how tightly that she's grabbing it. And then how she just kind of suddenly stabs herself.
Yeah, I feel like in most situations that would be like in slow-mo and everybody be running towards her like, no! But no, she was just like, heck!
Yeah, like, we have to feed, basically, in order for us to survive, we have to continue feeding upon you like demons, was her words.
I think her goal there was probably to make it so the demons wouldn't need to take anything else from Hyakimaru.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, well, I'll just give my life, and then you don't have to take anything from my son.
Exactly.
But it didn't really work out that way. I think she just summoned a bigger demon. And of course, Daigo's is like, thanks, Hyakimaru, you fucked it up again.
Yeah, you brought great misfortune upon us. No, you did that when you made a deal with demons, you asshole. And then we get to see, like, a nice little moment, or nice kind of bit, sort of like, you were talking about Hyakimaru being confused on, like, who his family was, and his real family had basically discarded him. Like, his brother had basically said, hey, I'm sorry that happened to you, bro, but I've got to just kind of throw you to the wolves again. His dad could not care if he died, and his mom probably offed herself. She's very heavily wounded, at least.
Yeah, I don't think she's dead yet.
But Dororo said this a couple times throughout the episode, don't worry, you've got me. Mm-hmm. Which I think is a very nice little thing, basically saying, hey, I'm your family.
And Hyakimaru definitely proves that he feels that way too, because when he's fighting his brother, he immediately abandons that fight to go over and save Dororo and Sukeroku.
Oh yeah, which Sukeroku actually also had a happy ending this episode.
Didn't expect that.
Yeah, I wasn't either. I was expecting his mother's dead.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how they survived in that situation.
Like, they had just been hiding, as far as we know.
Unless the soldiers really... Well, I don't know. Maybe the soldiers didn't want to kill civilians, but then they killed civilians anyways.
Yeah, they killed them by nailing them up onto a wall.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming that probably either subconsciously or otherwise, most of the soldiers didn't want to shoot a kid.
Yeah, because... Actually, that's an interesting point, because, like, everybody, like, they were all pinned up on the wall, and then they started shooting, but then they all shot all the adults lined up on the wall, and not Sukeroku.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's because, like, they're thinking, well, if we shoot enough arrows, they'll probably all die. And there's then I'm assuming all the guys are probably thinking, well, I'm not going to shoot the kid, someone else will. Yeah. So in the end, nobody shot the kid.
No kidding. And... we had another callback this episode. We saw the samurai bastard that had killed Mio, or at least the one that got away.
Oh yeah, almost made Hyakimaru freak out again.
Yeah, that was a little awkward, like how he started screaming at first, but then I don't know. I think the voice actor felt like, I don't think that it was as visceral this time around as the initial scream.
Yeah, it was probably less. He was probably less angry than in the moment when he was there.
Yeah, probably.
And also Hyakimaru still doesn't have a firm grasp on how to use his voice.
Yeah, I mean, he's talking a lot more now, which that's an impressive feat in and of itself.
All his talking is very stilted and slow.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, side note, in the opening, I noticed that the guy who has like an eye... He has like a cut across his eye.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, hey, that's Tohomaru.
Yeah, you said, isn't it Tohomaru?
I wonder when that's going to happen.
And then it immediately happened this episode. Yeah, that was really funny. And I was thinking, because you would actually ask me, that guy looks like Tohomaru? I'm like, it is Tohomaru. I'm like, just look at him. That's Tohomaru. And So I think like going forward, this is going to be more about like Hyakimaru having to worry about not just the demons, but also the Daigo's people going after him.
Yeah, because Daigo, Tohomaru, and I think everyone pretty much got away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his mom got stabbed herself in the
Yeah,
stomach.
after
everyone left the Banmon or whatever.
Yeah, the Banmon wall. And yeah, the Asakura clan was going to attack, then they didn't. So, this is the last thing I want to say. So, in the bit when Dororo was trying to escape, can I just say that Tsukuroku is fucking strong for a kid, apparently? Because he managed to, when two guards were going in to stop Dororo from escaping, he managed to, like, just tackle one, and apparently hard enough to make him hit his head against the bars behind him, and keep another one occupied.
Oh, no, that was...
for, like, 15 seconds.
Well, that was Tsukuroku and also another old guy.
Might have.
Who was doing that.
Yeah, I didn't...
It showed one of the other old guys struggling with the guy as well.
Ah, maybe. I just didn't notice that. Still, I thought it was kind of hilarious. Like, wow, a kid is actually apparently pretty damn strong.
A new OP probably next week.
Yep.
So next up is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind, featuring Biggie Smalls.
You mean Biggie Smalls, Notorious Big, or Notorious Chase.
God, that pissed me off so much how they actually like changed they actually edited the writing on the wall.
Yeah, they...
It's like, come on, just do the subtitles.
Yeah. Also, can I just point out that it was really annoying in that sequence when it was just all written in Italian? And
yeah, right?
And there weren't...
And Giorno's like, huh? Oh, spooky Italian!
Yeah, spooky Italian words. Like, maybe it was just because we were watching it on Verve and they didn't subtitle those, but I wonder,
yeah.
like, just, oh, I could go for some pizza. But, ugh. This episode, once again, this episode felt like something out of a body horror movie. Like, I swear to God.
It's so hard to watch some parts of it. Like when Giorno has his arm on the piece of glass and he just kind of pushes it down and you see the glass push up through his skin.
I'm pretty sure glass isn't typically that sharp to cut somebody's arm off. Like, it actually through bone and shit.
Yeah,
but...
well, I mean, like, first of all, plane windows don't use glass, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they use, like, some kind of really strong plastic material or something.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't shatter like that.
Yeah.
But
this was also like the late 90s.
Yeah, it's true. And suspension of disbelief, even if they did use it.
Still, for one, ow when he did that, and
ugh.
two, I'm pretty sure that wouldn't be able to cut off his arm and send it flying out the window.
Well, it was being sucked out by the...
Well, that I understand, but...
Although apparently Sticky Fingers fucking doesn't cause explosive decompression.
Yeah.
It's like, hold on, he's just like, and he opens up a hole and nothing happens.
Like, oh, I guess you didn't need to hold on after
It's a stand hole, who cares?
Yeah, I guess so.
Abakio using Moody Blues to fly the plane, I thought was pretty sick.
It's fine. I saw this in a movie once. I'm pretty sure we could just use this computer.
Yeah, well, I mean, that aside, actually using his stand to fly the plane was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was really cool. But he was, like, not at all... It seems like they'd almost forgotten that he was in this episode. He didn't even say, hey, is something going on back there?
Yeah, I mean,
or anything like that.
There's definitely lots of screaming.
Yeah.
That I feel like people would have heard.
Like, hey, what's going on? You would have thought that he would have said something.
Yeah.
The scene on the runway, that was pretty weird because, for one thing, the guy that showed up kind of looked like Pesci.
Yeah, he had that same kind of, like, rubber body aesthetic.
But he also kind of reminded me of a SpongeBob bit, the "Who you calling Pinhead?" from SpongeBob. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
It was in an episode when Sandy was hibernating, one of the early episodes. But anyway, Patrick asked that question and his face kind of looked all squished and hilarious like that.
I don't watch SpongeBob.
I haven't either.
Because I'm an adult. I only watch anime.
Oh, yeah. You only watch
like
Japanese cartoons.
Adult, yeah. So we got to take a second to talk about Notorious B.I.G.
Yeah.
Because, or Big as they call him.
Yeah.
So... You know how he died, right?
He got shot.
Yeah, and then, like, I think it was like a week or so after he died, he released his album, Life After Death. Which this stand ability, as they have come to realize, only activates after the stand user dies. This is some fucking Illuminati shit right here.
I didn't even put that shit together. That's fucking hilarious,
Yeah.
actually. It's almost in bad taste, but not really.
Nah, I think it's a nice little
pretty creative
nod to him too.
Yeah, but also on the runway, Mista giving the longest-winded speech about telling somebody to get the fuck out. Like, it's like, we won't even let a saint come here. Not like a saint would ever show up here in the first place. And all of a sudden, and I like spaghetti. Do you like spaghetti? Oh, wait, you're coming closer. I have to shoot you, I guess. Like, really, Mista, was there any necessity in giving that long-winded of a speech?
Yeah. I mean, Mista's a nice guy. He doesn't want to shoot somebody if he doesn't have to.
It's like, just shoot him! It's like, he's clearly an enemy. Shoot him! I mean...
Well, he did eventually once he showed the stand.
Yeah, of course. Only after he showed the stand, like, wait, he's a stand user! Kill him! Who could have predicted this? Like, even Trish points that out. It's like, it's not your fault. Nobody could have predicted this. Except for literally everybody watching this show.
Yeah. I mean, they said the whole thing like, nobody could possibly follow us on this plane.
It's like, okay, flag's been triggered, I guess. Yeah. Apparently they cut something out of the anime that was in the manga. Like, Bucciarati apparently went onto the airstrip and it had asked somebody, it's like, I'd like to steal a plane. Where could I find one? Which they didn't show here. But that would have been kind of funny. I was kind of curious about, like, okay, so they're at an airstrip now. Where did they find this plane?
Nah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah,
no kidding.
Do you think we have time to worry about that when there's arms being chopped off and Trish, I'm assuming she's probably going to get her stand. We're probably going to see it finally next episode. Like we saw a bit in the Babyface arc where she had her hand on the ground and there was a big old handprint there.
Yeah, her and her stand, Spicy Lady, or probably just Spice Girls.
Yeah, it's probably Spice Girls.
Yeah, it's going to be Spice Girls. Although, like I said earlier,
Spicy Lady.
Spicy Lady. I want to say that it's kind of... I said before that this episode kind of felt like something out of a body horror movie or just out of a horror flick in general. Like, because when Trish was, like, by herself, like, in the plane, like, how it was, like, all dark and stuff, and she saw, like, the reflection of the stand just rolling around, kind of reminds me of there's something on the wing in the Twilight Zone. And then how it starts slamming against the windows. Pretty well done. Like, it was actually legitimately creepy.
Yeah, it was really gross how, like, when it attached itself to Jorno's arm and it was just kind of like a hand coming out.
God.
So, okay, we also have to go back to the fingers in the fridge. I don't entirely understand how that happened.
Yeah, Jorno says apparently he put them there because we saw, like, the Notorious B.I.G., like, it was attached to his thing, and that's what was scribbling on the wall?
Yeah, I guess maybe it probably attached to him when he reached down and touched the guy's body?
Probably.
But, like, I guess, yeah, the writing was off-screen, so maybe off-screen he put those fingers in the fridge.
Yeah, like, it was, like, apparently they were shocked that it was even a freezer to begin with, though.
But where did the extra one come from? Randomly.
I don't...
Like, maybe it's part of, the stand's ability.
I have no idea. It was very strange, though. And it definitely, Araki once again sort of just saying, oh, that kind of happened. Don't focus on it too much. Look at this flashy shit.
They might explain it.
Yeah.
They might explain it.
Maybe.
Next episode.
So, Kaguya-sama, Love is War. This episode was actually kind of depressing and heartwarming all at the same time.
Yeah, it was... well, first of all, it's the season finale.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I expected it to be very good. I didn't expect it to be so cripplingly sad at the point when Kagi just gave up.
Yeah.
On the bed. Like, this is a funny show. Why is someone cutting onions in my comedy?
Yeah, just like her repeatedly saying, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
Ugh.
Oh, God. It's like, no.
Yeah. I was kind of expecting an arranged marriage, just because that seemed like the direction they were going with her dad showing up randomly and calling her back to the house.
Yeah. Which he apparently has shown that he's kind of a deadbeat, doesn't really pay attention to her or anything like that, so it'd be kind of bizarre for that in the first place.
Yeah, it was so heartbreaking just to see her all excited, about ready to go out. She's all dressed up, and the bodyguard's like, nope.
And then Hayasaka even gives a thumbs up, like saying, yeah, you look good, and and just, see you later.
I'm so excited for her to go have fun. Nope.
Yeah. Hayasaka... I know we've said it before, but I'll say it again just because it bears repeating. Hayasaka is the best wingman ever. Like, really.
I guess. I don't know if I use the term wingman. I mean, I guess so, because most of the time it's just her getting fed up with Kaguya's shit, and it's just like, alright, maybe stop being a little bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, I'm so exhausted seeing you two play mind games with each other. Just come on and just do something about it already.
Mm-hmm. But she, in the end, she ends up cheering up Kaguya, or at least getting her to be motivated again to actually leave the house.
Yeah, her long-winded speech about, like, how distance makes the heart grow fonder, and if he saw you again, his feelings would come bursting forth, all that fun shit.
So I'm thinking that the entire sequence where when Miyuki finds Kaguya in the alley,
yeah,
I'm assuming that entire sequence was played out from Kaguya's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, from her perspective, he looks all cool and badass, but, like, later on when we see the flashback, he's got, like, a spurgy, like, freaked out face. It's just like, oh god, I finally found you, like that kind of face.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's just him being really worried about how stupid he looks.
Like, I almost am sure he was just thinking about, like overthinking stuff as he does. I think that just, I was not expecting them to make a callback to this joke, because even Ishigami's like, whoa, who's this really cool driver? I was not expecting it to be the guy from the ramen shop in the Chica episode.
I don't think it was him. I think it was another one of the 4 ramen lords.
You think so?
Yeah, the guy in the ramen shop was skinnier. This guy was kind of chubby.
Maybe. I don't know.
They were referencing the deep Kaguya-sama lore.
Another one of the...
yeah, because they pointed out there's 4 of them.
Yeah. And maybe it is true. Like, I would have laughed if it was another one. I personally thought it was. I even thought that maybe when he's like, oh, it's that young lady again. I was wondering if that was because he saw Chica, because he recognized her or something.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I thought he looked a lot different. I was expecting... when Miyuki was like, we gotta go, we gotta be there as fast as we can, we gotta take that risk, I was expecting like Eurobeat to kick in and him to like fucking just start drifting.
Yeah, I like...
And, really quick, Ishigami's fucking response to it. He's like, oh, where did this cool driver come from?
Yeah, exactly. Just like, whoa, who is this really cool driver? I also liked the little, speech that Kaguya was making to herself about, how she just wanted to spend time with her friends. She doesn't need romance. She doesn't need anything like that. She just wants to spend time with basically a series of firsts for her. The first younger student she's ever helped, the first person she's ever considered a friend, and the first person she's ever fallen in love with. I thought that was a really sweet little thing, which was immediately heartrending when the fireworks display has ended.
Oh, yeah.
This show it was so depressing.
Yeah, it was definitely like a roller coaster episode of we go up and down and up, and then it was fine.
But one of the best parts of this skit was just the aftermath of all that. Just Miyuki freaking the fuck out, like, oh god, that was so cringeworthy.
I mean, I've been there before.
Yeah, just immediately, a young man reflects on that day in summer vacation and regrets it instantly.
Yeah, it's where you do something in the heat of the moment, and you think you look cool, and you look back on it, and then all you have is nothing but time to sit in your room alone, just thinking, oh god, I could have done that better.
Then just realizing, oh god, I really did that, didn't I?
That was fucking. Did his sister put a pillow over her ears or something?
He was screaming. Yeah, he was screaming into a pillow, and she was just kind of laying on her side, just kind of covering her ears. Oh my god! Everything about this last skit was also just really funny. Because Kaguya is playing this sort of I don't want to look at you game because I'm too embarrassed to, but not because of the reason that Miyuki thinks that it is, but because, oh my god, he was so cool that night. I can't look at him. And
look at Chica though, just asterisk.
Yeah,
and she's fucking dives in the middle of him.
Yeah, because she's just that little agent of chaos. When the two of them walked past each other the second time, and then Chica's face when it said the whole crossover thing, it makes me it kind of looked like an oh come on face from her, she was expecting something to happen.
I think that's a game. that like Japanese kids play.
Maybe.
Crossover. I'm pretty sure I've heard something.
But her
about
face,
that before.
but her face kind of looked like this. Oh, come on, really? Expression. Maybe I'm reading too much into it.
Maybe you're just too convinced that she's a genius at this point.
Yeah, I've gone too far. I can't go back now. But then Ishigami steps in and gets shot down.
Oh yeah, the little plane bit, the fucking Thomas the Tank Engine looking.
And then even and Chico is all
three's a crowd.
Yeah, just four's a crowd. No, three's a crowd.
Fucking throws a fit and leaves.
And then like her Kaguya chasing Miyuki, and then the season ending with her saying, "I'll be the one to make you say it."
Oh my god, the show ending and the stereotypical romantic ending of we never get to see if they're actually gonna be together or not. The ending credits scene was nice to watch, though.
Yeah, it was just
with
them
all the kind of resolving of all the people just kind of doing their own thing. Like Hayasaka doing the dance with her friends was adorable.
And then just Chika running in. Not Chika, freaking Kaguya running in front of her and just going, "Wait, what?" That was great.
The ending was not. It didn't really catch me off guard or anything. It wasn't really that surprising. I mean, I guess the feels part kind of cut me off guard, but all in all, I think the ending was done very well, and I guess doing it this way leaves room for more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure maybe they're planning on it because there's more source material out there already.
I would love to see more.
I would love to see a second season just to see like these two goofballs duke it out pretty much.
Yeah, like I have full confidence that they could just make more funny skits about them trying to get each other to say "I love you" or whatever.
Yeah, and then eventually maybe being a couple. And then, like we said earlier before, like if they actually do become a couple, maybe it's another game to it basically just becomes another series of mind games between them.
Stepping up to the next level of mind games.
Exactly.
So next up is the Magnificent Kotobuki.
Another one of the series that will be ending next week.
Yeah, no finale this week. We got to see more of Isao being a shithead. We got, although we got a little more personality to Isao, I think, this episode, which is something I think they should have delivered earlier. Because, like, when he was dogfighting and fighting pretty much the entire Kotobuki squadron by himself, we got to see how he was kind of a cocky asshole. Like, we saw how he was cocky earlier, but he didn't. This just kind of points out to why he would be such an asshole a little more.
Yeah, like, he thinks that he's probably the only one really deserving of power, because, like, he is one of the greater fighting aces. Like, even they had pointed that out in the episode he was introduced.
Yeah, when he, like, saved the day, pretty much.
Yeah, like, and I still don't think it was handled particularly well making him the main villain. Like, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. It just...
I think he would have come off way better as kind of just a snarky political guy, because I loved when they introduced him, his kind of banter with his butler. Yeah, how they were just pretty much like a comedy duo.
Yeah, the fool and the straight man routine, pretty much.
Yeah,
and
that was
like
cute.
Yeah, and then his the way that he kind of disagreed with Julie. I wasn't expecting him to be like a full on enemy of Councilman Julius, like he was here.
I was expecting more of like a rivalry.
Yeah, like just sort of
instead of like, I'm gonna murder you now.
Yeah, I'm literally a tyrant. The world will basically bow to me completely. Let's show like this side by side footage of me giving like this grandiose speech. Meanwhile, I'm going to show another shot of a fucking planes bombing the city. And, like, it being completely on fire, just to show how different we are.
He seems like a sociopath, honestly.
Yeah. No, he's a complete and total sociopath. Like, really, what the hell? I wasn't expecting that from this series.
So, we got a little bit more introspective on Kilie's perspective. Because, or not introspective, but she was saying out loud how, like, well, what's the point of war? Like, how should anyone really be allowed to just go to war?
Yeah, are wars really just supposed to be fought on a whim like this? Like, she said, like, she understands, like, all the things that led up to it, like, and all the reasons and motivations, but at the same time, she just doesn't understand why it had to go down this way.
Yeah, like, I mean, she's a young girl, or young woman, or whatever.
But she brings up a good point. Are things just supposed to happen just because, pretty much?
Yeah, it's like there's definitely a reason for all the fighting that's happening right now, but I think it's probably more of philosophical question from her.
Mm-hmm.
Not wanting to kill people as well.
Yeah,
but
not wanting to kill like a lot of people for what she deems for no good reason.
Yeah. But, Rayona being...
Orders are orders. We have to do this.
Yeah, well, it's partly that, but also that she trusts the madam, trusts her decisions. It's like, well, people may not agree with it, but to me, her word is truth. Yeah,
exactly. I think it's kind of, we got a couple really funny Captain Dodo moments too this episode. Like when Julia was talking about like what the world under Isao would be. There would only be 3 groups of people: Isao, his followers, and his slaves. And then all of a sudden you just see Captain Dodo go, Rah! Just scream. And even how Captain Dodo, like, I don't know if they ever really explain it, but he's apparently like a pretty damn intelligent bird, because it's like, okay, where are we supposed to go? He just points to something with his wing. It's like, oh yeah, right there. That's right.
Yeah.
Like,
I think he's one of those characters that is something, like if this were a DreamWorks movie or something, they'd be like, this movie, the movie would come out and they'd be like, next time, Captain Dodo the movie.
Yeah.
Being a piece of shit.
Oh god, yeah.
He's one of those funny mascot characters that's funny in the situation itself.
Yeah, no kidding. The dog fighting in this episode, on point again as usual. I really like the sequence when what was her name? Naomi. She, like, when she was like had people coming behind her, and then she like suddenly like pulls the brakes on her plane and goes into a nosedive.
Yeah, like all the choreography of the flights are
so good. So many cool like ancient flight tech or like old school Japanese flying techniques. Which, the weirdest twist of this season, apparently the Yufeng are just Japanese people.
Oh my god, I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all.
I was like, I'm sorry.
This is such an interesting world with things I'd like to worry about, or things I'd like to learn about. And they're like, alternate dimension.
Yeah, it's just an alternate dimension.
Well, shit.
Like, it's just Japan, like, apparently.
Yeah, Yufeng is... I'm assuming that they're, like, trying to trade technology between their world and Japan, and then there's kind of, like, a weird kind of political power thing going on in the background. Maybe Isao knows more about that.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why they decided to go this route. Maybe
last episode I said it just got too serious too fast.
Yeah, like they really should have been building up to this, and I think it's hilarious, like, because they got intel that was apparently supposed to be perfect intel. We see how wrong that is later, because
I love that guy. I was just like,
he seemed suspicious from the beginning.
I liked his method of betraying him. He was just like, I'm exploring other lines of work. I wish you the best of luck. Bye!
Yeah, like, but he seemed suspicious in the beginning because, like, even the way he was like, oh yes, this intel is perfect. It seemed so kind of stilted. It's like, okay, that's not suspicious at all. Right. Oh yes, I'm throwing in my resignation.
Gaudreau,
Gaudreau, I think.
Gaudreau is just a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Honestly. I think he's dead.
Because the Paroko flagship went down.
Yeah, it went down with him in it. Maybe they'll show that he got rescued or whatever next episode. Fucking Isao's plane looks so wonky. It's a plane with the propeller in the back.
Yeah, it's like a weird amalgamate jet plane. That's really the only way to explain it, because it goes way faster than anything else. It's capable of doing all these crazy maneuvers. I'm not even sure if it's based on a real plane.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm not gonna look it up.
Yeah, like, I'm not that fascinated in aeronautics to know, but if you guys know...
It looks fake.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say that. It looks like a fucking Star Wars...
Yeah, it does look like a Star Wars
space fighter.
Yeah, although I will say that whole sequence when he's just like flying around, shooting shit down, that was all really cool.
Yeah, like suspension of disbelief, it was kick-ass.
Yeah, just boom, 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 boom. Like, even the bullets had their own like kind of unique sound effects, like his guns. I thought that was really cool.
I think my favorite little bit of the episode was probably when everything was looking dire, and then you just hear dun 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 dun.
Yeah,
the fucking Elite Industries guy just flies in. I thought that was a really cool callback.
Yeah, there have been this week had quite a few cool callbacks to previous episodes, like with the whole thing in Kaguya-sama that we brought up earlier, and then this was all really hilarious and fun to watch. I love when they do, like, callbacks that feel earned. Like, they're not, like, ridiculously out of place.
And it was just long enough where you forgot about the guy, too. Like,
Yeah.
I completely forgot about him.
I forgot about them, too, but I was like, oh my god, that's right! These guys are around. That's pretty awesome. It's totally like a Han Solo showing up at the last minute sort of situation. Oh, man. But apparently, the episode ends, like, an after the credit thing, after... like half the Kotobuki Corps gets shot down. Like,
well, also Kate shoots down Isao.
yeah, that's a big one.
Right as he's, I'm assuming Kate was probably just waiting for him to like revel in his victory, and then she's like, yeah, boom, 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 shoots him down.
Yeah.
Like, carelessness is your worst enemy.
I'll keep that in mind next time. By the way, are you the one that shot down Alan? Yup. And then the episode cuts there before an episode credit, like an after credits moment, which I thought was super weird. But we find out there's another hole opening up right over Rahama.
I'm assuming the show's gonna end with another big dogfight, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe Rayona versus Isao or something, because that seems to be like the main, or maybe Kilie.
Yeah,
because she's like the main character, is what it feels like anyway.
Well, that and the fact that he basically just said, "Oh yeah, by the way, I killed your mentor."
Yeah, that too.
Yeah,
maybe Saab will come through the hole or something like that.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, badass old man comes to save the day.
Yeah, well, yeah, because he said that he shot him down. He didn't say that he killed him, just that he shot him down.
What if it turns out in the end that Isao has never been killing anybody? He's just this good guy.
I doubt it, because he just seems like a complete and total fucking sociopath.
Also,
and his butler.
That would piss me off too.
Yeah, just no. So, Mob Psycho 102, another series that will be concluding next week. Okay.
I didn't expect Serizawa to go from, like, not really caring about him that much to being so precious.
Yeah, like,
he's just such a nice guy.
Like, he's basically just Mob if he had taken a different path.
He's Mob without a Reagan.
Yeah, he's Mob with a evil Reagan.
That's true. Yeah.
Because that's basically
Dark Reagan.
Because that's basically what Suzuki is. He's just an evil Reagan.
Yeah.
Like, even Suzuki points that out with Reagan. It's like, oh, so you're someone who also lies, cheats, and steals from people, aren't you?
Yeah, Reagan lies, cheats, and steals to help people. And Suzuki does it to take over the world.
Yeah, Suzuki it's the antithesis of someone being sort of a chaotic good person and a lawful evil person, pretty much, I think. Which, Suzuki, we get to see just how much of a fucking sociopath he is, and he's basically just all for one, by the way.
Yeah. I can take everyone's psychic powers and make them my own.
And I can also store my own energy.
Come on, Bones.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that Mob Psycho came out. The series initially came out before Hero Academia did.
I'm not saying that anybody is copying anybody. It's just funny that that's the same studio.
Yeah, exactly. And the main antagonists, at least as far as we can tell, have the same abilities. Yeah, it is pretty funny. It's like, really, Bones? But who cares? This was really cool. We
got to see 2 100% in one episode.
Yeah. I actually, as you said, I felt really bad for Serizawa. Like, I don't think I could really imagine being like somebody who was just so afraid to hurt somebody that I couldn't even leave my own room. Like, the fact, and not being able to deal with it because nothing else has worked. So basically, he was just a prisoner in his own world. Yeah,
because he knocked his mom, I think all he did was knock his mom down a little bit once. But, like, after that point, he just was like, nope. Not gonna risk it.
Yeah, I can't do this. Like, I can't leave my room anymore.
It's definitely understandable why he followed Suzuki so much, because Suzuki was the one thing that helped him fix that.
Yeah, like,
I mean, put a band-aid on it, I guess. He didn't really fix it.
And even Suzuki said, he was the person who got me out of that room, and for that, I'm grateful, but I can't, but...
Serizawa, you mean?
Or, yeah, Serizawa. Serizawa said that Suzuki is the person that got him out of that room, and for that I'm grateful. But if my happiness comes at the expense of someone else's tears, I'd rather just be unhappy. Mm-hmm. Which I thought was a really nice moment between him and Mob, just talking on the stairs.
Yeah, I loved his 100% friendship.
Yeah, friendship.
So cool.
Like,
he's like, oh no, I'm not taking your power. You can have it back. And just him seeing all the shit that Mob went through as well. I think that was the thing that pretty much put him over the edge of
because
not wanting to do that anymore.
Because it was sort of starting to, like, And unfortunately, Mob was willing to just speak the hard truth to Serizawa. And I think Serizawa knew that deep down, but he even acknowledged that he was just running away. He didn't want to face the truth. And I think that it was really nice, like when he says, well, if you're looking for a friend, I'll be your friend. And that actually causes him to pause for a second. It's like, oh shit, I accidentally released a full-powered blast.
Well, he's dead.
Oh, man. But I think that it's also... And even... seeing once again just how much of an asshole that Suzuki is, like, beating the shit out of his own son, like, within an inch of his life, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, God, it was so painful watching him beat up Mob. Just seeing, like...
It was so visceral!
Yeah, like, his face distort, and him being, like, on the edge of unconsciousness.
Yeah, and just because he saw that Mob had the exact same ability that he did.
Yeah,
that was the moment.
As soon as he saw that, he was like, alright, you're my enemy, I have to kill you now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it was like the one thing that could possibly threaten him.
Yeah, because he just acknowledged that, well, you're now my mortal enemy. I think that it was pretty cool when Suzuki and Mob were talking with each other, just like the little bit when Suzuki was all like, I surpassed everybody when I was in middle school. Everything's basically beneath me. It's like, no, you're the only one who's stopped progressing since middle school.
Yeah, he's still in that middle school, I'm better than everyone mindset.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's really cool. Because the thing about Suzuki is that he sees himself as inherently better than everybody else. He wants to see himself as somebody special because, for one, he's a psychic. That makes him kind of special already, but... even then, that's not enough.
He wants to be special among everyone who's special.
Yeah, exactly. So, and he doesn't, like, and he basically scoffs at the idea of, like, connection and needing other people, when a big part of his power is taking energy from other people, basically just being a fucking parasite.
Yeah, a little ironic in that way.
Yeah, like, so he literally needs people to become as powerful as he's become, and so there's something inherently flawed with his mindset there. But
that's a really interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because
right?
Mob gets a lot of his, not like literal power, but his emotional support by other people offering help to him.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Suzuki has to take all of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Himself.
Yeah, he's a fucking parasite.
Great antithesis of Mob.
Yeah,
really, for a villain.
Yeah, no kidding. Like, because. And then also, just like the little showdown between him and Reagan, like Reagan basically trying to bluff him, which I thought was really cool. I can think of 4 ways to defeat you. Oh, really? Well, tell me those 4 ways. I'd rather not, but I'll tell you what I can do. Like, how about let me work for you?
Yeah, Reagan, he does what he has to do.
I was actually, like, legitimately worried for a second, because...
Yeah, I thought he was just going to be actually dead.
Like, because when his bluff failed, which was a first, by the way, like, because Reagan usually has just bluffed his way through things.
Yeah, and usually every psychic he attacks with physical strength ends up going down in one hit.
But yeah, Suzuki just appeared behind him and he's getting ready to blast him. He's like, wait, I give up! But,
and it went on to show a direct result of Mob's immediate actions.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he hadn't have stopped and talked to Serizawa and convinced him, just to go on and be a better person, then I don't think Serizawa would have actually stepped in to save Reagan.
Exactly, and that was a really good point. And then Mob basically just realizing at that point, there are just some people you can't reason with, and Suzuki is definitely one of those people. He's got to make him hurt.
100% rage!
Yeah, and unlike the killing intent we saw before, like, he doesn't want to kill him. He just wants to prove a point, I think. But
he has to be put in his place.
Exactly. I think that is so cool. But Suzuki is only at 10% of his power, which is terrifying.
Yeah, I am... this next fight's going to be so good. I can already feel it.
Oh my god, damn, I can't wait for it.
I'm assuming that Mob lifted up the building so that they could have their own fighting area, probably.
Oh, that would be so cool.
But, like, that's a lot of energy being used to hold that building up, I'm assuming anyways. Although, I mean, I guess he lifted up an entire school before.
Yeah, I think that maybe he was just trying to get him away from the city, because, like, a big thing about not Serizawa, I keep getting those confused. Suzuki was, like, making a big point of, oh, you're all going to betray me. Well, I'm just going to vaporize you with my finger lasers.
I was really surprised that the plant guy ended up picking Serizawa over Suzuki.
Yeah.
Because, like, Serizawa seemed like a nice guy. I'm going to help him.
Mm-hmm.
And like everyone at this point pretty much is not on his side anymore because they see how much of a monster he truly is.
Yeah, even Sho says, yeah, my dad isn't human. He's just a monster made out of energy. Which I think is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
The next episode is going to be sweet.
Yeah, finale.
Yeah.
So next up is My Roommate is a Cat. I liked the direction they went as soon as Subaru learned about that Haru escaped. Because I felt like I said last week, his reaction to the planes being canceled,
it seemed a little ham-fisted at the end, but then it's just like...
It was a little overdramatic.
But at the same time, he did what any rational human being would do and just say, oh, hey, I'm going to be late. Could you check on my cat for me?
That's all he had to do. It was an unnecessary, dramatic cliffhanger, in my opinion. But yeah, as soon as he called up Hiroto, I was like, there you go. That's all you had to do.
And then it just sort of... But then it was like, oh shit, she actually ran out. And it didn't feel like a plot point, like a ham-fisted one. It actually felt genuine because of Haru's mindset at this point. He's out there somewhere. I have to protect him.
Yeah, because we've been getting Haru more and more has been building up this emotion of Subaru's a useless little baby that needs to be protected all the time.
Exactly.
And even though Haru's not really the bravest or the strongest cat, she still wants to go out and protect him whenever she can.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because make sure he eats, etc.
Yeah, and I think it was nice how she realized, or how she came to that realization that maybe he's out there somewhere, because she just thought of her younger siblings in the same kind of situation, just kind of somewhere scared and alone. Yeah, and they were, it was pretty much Subaru and Haru going through the exact same emotions of that person's out there, I need to go out and protect them. Yeah. It was really cool seeing Subaru get help from all these different people. Yeah, all the people that he's made connections with over the course of the series. Yeah, just slowly making friends and people who actually care about him. And even Kawase, who he started off with really disliking at the very beginning, actually having him call up and say, hey, I'm going to help you. Hiroto filled me in on the situation. I'm going to help you. Him and I are basically going to switch places because he knows downtown better than I do. So I'd be better off just standing guard and waiting for Haru, even though Haru dislikes me, pretty much. But I thought that was a really nice kind of show of, I don't want to say affection, or I guess friendship. Yeah, good. Yeah, friendship. Yeah. I was actually pretty stressed out during the whole chase scene because I was worried that Haru was gonna fall in that slough and get washed away or something. Oh yeah, that moment when she got blown over and had just barely missed it, and then she tried to climb up. It reminded me of that scene from... You've seen Homeward Bound, at least, right? Yeah. Okay, of course. Jesus. I've seen Homeward Bound. You remember that scene from Homeward Bound when Shadow, fell down the hole, and then he was trying to climb up, and he couldn't? AKA, a moment that destroyed you as a fucking kid. Exactly. It's not gonna make it. It reminded me a little bit of that, and as I've said before, this series reminds me a lot of Because of Winn-Dixie. Mostly because of Winn-Dixie as well, there was a thunderstorm which caused Winn-Dixie, the dog, to run away because he was terrified of thunderstorms. So, two heartbreaking children's animal stories rolled into one, apparently. But I really liked it. I like when they found each other. That was a really nice moment. Mm-hmm. From both perspectives. Exactly. I would have liked it from Subaru's perspective a little more if he didn't say anything when he saw her and was just kind of holding her. If the animators had just let his face do the storytelling in that moment, I think it would have been a lot more impactful. Just basically kind of looking at her, smiling, crying, and then just hugging her. That would have told a lot more, I think, than just the dialogue. Yeah, it felt agreed. Like a little bit of an unnecessary insert. Like I said before, the show stumbles on delivering sadness sometimes because it almost seems like they're not trusting the audience to feel sad. They want it to be feel sad, sad music. Why are you sad yet? That aside, I thought all the situations in this episode were adorable. It was really heartwarming. Seeing Haru just kind of lick his tears, that was super sweet. It's like the emotion in the heart is there. They're just not executing it super well. Yeah, no kidding. And then I like to say that in both perspectives, and usually in the perspectives, like, Haru likes to portray herself as the hero, like, constantly, basically prove, like, oh, it's like, oh, you were scared, it's like, you really must have been scared, huh?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, but you hung in there, I'm so glad.
Good
like,
boy.
Like, not like, basically trying to just brush over the fact that she was completely terrified as well.
Completely oblivious to the fact that she was the one in danger and Subaru wasn't at all the one in danger.
Yeah, exactly. I just thought it was, downright hilarious how Haru, I think just basically showing pride as a cat.
Yeah, Haru's always like puffs up and she's
Just
like so proud of herself.
Yeah, and it's just kind of hilarious seeing like her basically trying to strut around and say, yeah, I'm the hero here.
Mhm.
I just think it's super adorable in that whole perspective. It's been a common theme where anytime it's Haru's perspective, there are always things that make her seem tougher than she is.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like she's kind of an unreliable narrator, I think, because she's basically seeing things or showing them to the audience as she thinks that they should be.
Yeah, exactly.
Which-
The ending was... I wouldn't say it was anything like new or groundbreaking, but I think it was pretty touching.
Yeah.
Just seeing the little conversation back and forth between Haru and Subaru, or I guess their perspectives of saying how they just want to, like, they're just going to be there and take care of each other and yada, 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 friendship, love.
Yeah, friendship, family, love. Yeah, it was cute.
I've grown attached enough over the course of this series to Haru and Subaru that the ending was nice and heartwarming for me.
Yeah, it was a cozy little show. It was just cute.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to point out that the series has, or at least this episode, did a pretty good job, I think, of displaying like how panic attacks kind of are. Because like when we saw like Subaru like kind of clutching at his chest and stuff, that's actually pretty true to anybody who's ever had anxiety, panic attack, stuff like that. They usually tend to do that because like your chest tightens up and it just feels ridiculously uncomfortable and you can't focus on anything other than that. I thought it was a slight detail, but one I really enjoyed.
I would have liked if, it's small detail, but if he actually cooked Haru a meal at the end when they were all eating together instead of just giving her some canned food.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been a cool detail. Then everyone could have been like, "Oh wow, you can do this."
Yeah, that would have actually been a really nice little touch. But other than that, like, yeah, this was just a solid ending to a really adorable show. Next up, Promised Neverland. Oh man, this finale was so good.
Yeah, it definitely didn't stumble at all. They perfectly nailed the ending of this show.
Yeah, for one thing, I think it was an awesome reveal when we find out like why Emma left the kids behind in the first place. It had kind of been alluded and joked about constantly on the internet that Phil was like this amazing super genius, like who had basically had everything figured out. And it's not entirely wrong because he's only 4 and he'd already just kind of suspected something's off here.
Yeah, he's a very inquisitive little child, that's for sure.
Yeah, and very perceptive too. Like, and it's been pointed out that he's one of the higher scoring 4-year-olds as well, so it makes sense.
I was surprised how he went through the emotions of once he learned he was crying, that realized that everyone who got taken away is actually dead. But it didn't take him long after that to get back on his feet.
Yeah.
Realizing, no, I can wait. You guys can go.
Yeah, that was a super...
I was like, I'm so proud of you, Phil.
That was such a brave moment from him. Like, I was so happy for him because, like there was, no hesitation at all. And I think that it's a good point to make out because because what they had made such a big deal about in the series, the reason why so many people followed it, so many people went through with this escape, is because it's Emma. Because people acknowledge that Emma's reckless and unreasonable, but she's honest. So people are able to just kind of rally behind her. She's exactly the person that Phil needed to hear it from. And he trusts Emma. Like, he knows that she'll be able to do what she sets her mind to, so...
Yeah, Emma and Norman made a very good leadership pair.
Mm-hmm.
Because for solid leadership, you need the person who's not necessarily the smartest, but they have a lot of heart.
Yeah.
And everyone's going to rally behind them. And then you need the idea man behind them who's going to take all of these ambitions and make them into something realistic.
Yeah, and I think even, I think that Rei is also going to kind of serve in that stead, like with, because there was a lot of growth from Rei in this episode, too.
Yeah, Rei didn't have a lot of input, per
Yeah.
se, in the final plan. But yeah, he's really smart, and he's definitely probably going to be the smartest person
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah, I
But
think,
most of this episode, he was just like, what?
like, wow.
What?
This was a really, like, fundamental way of showing the whole, in order to, like, to borrow a quote from Persona 5, in order to trick your enemies, you must first trick your allies, which, that's exactly what Norman did. Basically knew what Rei was planning, and used that in a way to where it could benefit Emma's ideas, pretty much, which is very creative. Like, the whole, everybody would expect us to escape from the bridge, but we're not going to go to the bridge. We're going to go to this one spot where it's dangerous, but we can make it.
So, I actually brought that up a few weeks ago when they showed the pit. I was like, oh, well, maybe they'll come up with some kind of grappling or zipline device or whatever.
I wasn't expecting them to actually
Yeah,
follow
like, I was
through on
just
that.
kind of joking. Like, that seems a little far. But they came up with a really clever way to do it with, what's his face?
Dawn,
yeah, throwing the first one, and then actually using the bottle rockets.
I lost my shit when I saw them, like, getting ready to do it. It's like, okay, we're up, and they pull out the freaking water rockets. I'm like, no fucking way.
Yeah, there's so many little details they've done just with the kids playing that they ended up using. I don't think they did the grappling hook thing or the zipline thing. I don't think they showed that on screen. But it's another one of the cases where I said last week how it doesn't necessarily show it, but it's a situation where you could see it happening.
Exactly.
They definitely already spent enough time pointing out that the kids were training.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not too much of a stretch. Like, the clues and stuff were all there. Like, and it's not too far-fetched to basically assume these twists and see them coming.
Yeah,
So,
it was so exciting just seeing all of these little details come into place as they finally figured out how to actually escape.
yeah, I want to point out, so I said a little bit before that that Rei had a lot of character growth this episode, and the reason I say that is because, like, after seeing basically Norman's plan coming together, and Emma, like, all based on Emma's desire to want to save everybody, it kind of, like, awakened something in him, because, like, the little girl, Jemima, or Jemima, however you pronounce it, they call her Jemima, so, when she was, like, too scared to go down, and he basically says, don't worry, I'll take you across. I think that's a big moment for him, because...
Yeah, especially if you consider, or compare that back to his original plan of telling Norman, we're not taking everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's a big moment for him, because even he acknowledges, I had considered everybody else a hindrance. And he admits pretty much that he was wrong.
Yeah, he was just as surprised as I was, and probably a lot of the audience was, that the kids were actually capable enough to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't expect the kids to be able to handle the truth, let alone actually, go through with the plan of helping everyone escape and building these complicated mechanisms to help them get across the gap.
Yeah, no kidding. Then we get like the penultimate moment of the series. Basically, Emma saying goodbye, because she's the last one to escape. Mama figures out that the kids are escaping and what they're planning, because apparently she had tried much of the same thing before and realized there was just no way out.
Yeah, that was such a subtly emotional scene.
Yeah.
From Isabella's perspective, because through the flashback we learned that we already knew that she tried to escape before, but we learned the kind of the reason behind it, how she had this boy she loved, and then she realized that, well, I'm just gonna get out of here, and I'm assuming she was probably originally intending on helping kids escape.
But then she realized there was basically no hope.
Yeah,
She was just walled in, pretty much.
She never thought about, like, doing anything to get across that gap. It was just, like, despair to her, and she eventually just gave up. Like, I think a lot of her motivation was survival at first.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually she moved on to realizing, well, I don't want people to die, but she faced the inevitable truth that these kids were going to be killed and turned into livestock. So she wanted to give them the nicest, most comfortable life that they could have. And, like, she genuinely really felt that way.
And that was the other big thing. Like, I thought it was just, like, a lie at first. Like, I thought it was basically she was just basically as monstrous as the monsters. Like, she was just somebody, but no, there was like a legitimate feeling of, no, I actually want to provide the best life I can to these kids. Like, if there is no hope, I might as well give, basically, a false hope is even better than no hope at all, is pretty much like her mentality. And that, I think, is really complex and definitely paints her as a more sympathetic character than I was expecting at first.
Yeah, especially because she didn't even try to stop Emma. Because as soon as she ran up and saw Emma, they just kind of had a stare down for a while. And I think Isabella was probably hoping that maybe Emma wouldn't do that. Like, a tiny part of her was hoping. Yeah. But I think most of her was hoping that she would just go. Because after all the kids made it across, they let the strings down and everything. She kind of just bundled them up, looked out, and said, like, I hope you guys find your light.
Yeah, and then even after that, she sort of like unties her hair. Basically, I think a symbol that she was kind of like untying herself to the things that had been binding her before. Like, because she had basically finally admitted to herself that, well, maybe they'll be able to find hope after all.
Yeah, it's... Because throughout all these years, she's had to tell herself, this is the only way.
Yeah.
And now she finally learned that it's not the only way. It's like, you just have to give up so many years of your life there.
Yeah,
this must be hard to do.
It's a very nice, like, visual storytelling element. Also, when Emma is saying goodbye, like, she's saying goodbye to all the different things, like goodbye house, the first thing they show is Connie's little bunny. Mm-hmm. The thing that started this whole thing to begin with. I thought that was very clever. Like, just so many good details in this series. Although, another twist I wasn't expecting this episode, Mama actually is one of the kids' mama.
Yeah. She's Ray's mom.
Yeah. Which, for one thing, time-lapse, a little, like, they've done it already before. Like, the time-lapse, like, showing, like, pretty much through very minimalistic dialogue, mostly music. And they kind of, like, show, like, a brief, like, showing of this person's life, pretty much. Like, snapshots, just enough to give you the information and piece it all together. Not like saying, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. Mm-hmm. This series has done it once again with that, like seeing how Mama was or Isabella, I guess, was pregnant, and how she had eventually, like, trained to become a mom, and all that shit, and then just her hearing, like, somebody humming a song that she hadn't heard for a long time.
Yeah, I'm assuming, because so Ray brought up the fact that, you know, he remembered all the stuff from when he was an infant. It was probably him remembering the tune when he was in the womb.
Yeah, exactly.
And she was humming when she had her hands on her stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, and then that face she made of just, like, kind of terror.
Just, like, the realization that she's basically, like, stripping off, like, literally her own flesh and blood.
Yeah, I'm assuming that is actually one of the reasons that they make them have a child. So, what I think is they choose you to be a mama, they send you through all the training, and then when they confirm that you are fit to be a mama, they have you have a child, and then that child gets put in your plantation, and that kind of gives you more of a emotional attachment to the plantation itself.
Yeah.
Kind of more of a reason not to fuck anything up, because then your own kid dies.
Exactly.
Or, your own kid's gonna die eventually, but...
this was, like, literally her own, like, flesh and blood, which she'd basically already sent, like, so many of her children out, because she really did view them as her children. Like, it wasn't just a facade, as we pointed out, but this was literally, like, her child, which that'd be, like, devastating, I imagine, as soon as she realized that. Like, and I want to point out that, it was a very nice moment when Phil asked, like, where everyone else is, and she's like, don't worry, they all escaped safely.
Yeah, she knew that Phil knew what was going on.
Exactly.
And that's going to create an interesting dynamic, because Phil's going to be, like, the next Emma, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Like, he's watching over all the children, like, that are under the age of 4, while Emma's gone. Basically just trying to keep track of everyone and take care of them.
Yeah, I'm wondering how this incident is going to affect Isabella's position as a mama.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of merchandise unaccounted for.
Yeah, that's a pretty big fuck up. That's pretty much most of your livestock.
Like, I feel like they're just going to replace her. Like, they have to, right? Like,
I imagine so. I mean, I really don't know. Like, I don't know what they're planning. Like, I'm looking forward to the second season. Like,
for sure.
Good Lord.
2020. So next up is the Quintessential Quintuplets. And once again, I admit defeat. I was wrong again.
Yeah, it was something that I had forgotten to bring up last week, because I noticed it, and I took note of it, I had just forgotten about it in the heat of the moment, that when Ichika, had called out to Uesugi when he was sliding down the hill, she referred to him as Uesugi-kun, not Futaro-kun.
So, why did she say, have you not talked to anyone about yesterday?
I think she was talking about, the compromising position that she found Ichika and Futaro in. She was thinking that maybe he would just be another boy, saying, oh yeah, I was like that with her, pretty much.
So you think it was just a separate situation?
I think so.
It's kind of a coincidence?
Yeah, that's exactly what I think it was.
I guess that was a good way to throw it off, or throw the audience off, as evidence of me.
Yeah, exactly. I like how Nino was being super protective, with a whole I can trust you, right? Just sort of, because that's the biggest thing. It's her attitude is shifted. She just wants to believe that Futaro actually is a person that she can trust. She knows that she doesn't like him, but she at least is willing to trust him, I think.
I think Nino is probably wary of guys because of her dad.
Yeah.
I think the girls were talking about that. I don't know if this episode, but I think they said, Futaro's not like her dad.
Yeah.
Who's probably, really cold and distant and emotionless.
Oh, yeah, no, they did. They brought that up. I think they brought it up while Futaro and Itsuki were on the ski lift.
Okay.
Which, I think that was also a really funny little moment when it's hey, do you think it's that girl over there? Do you think it's that girl over there? No, it can't be. It's well, yeah, obviously not, because that's a guy, but you have terrible eyesight, Itsuki.
Yeah, this episode was really sweet. That moment was really sweet. Ichika and Miku finally just making up with each other.
Yeah.
Well, they weren't really arguing, but I guess
sort of
coming to terms with their feelings.
Yeah, they both just kind of realized they both like the same guy. They need to, and they're basically just trying to figure out the best way of how to approach that going forward.
Surprisingly, it was Miku doing most of the talking in that situation.
Exactly.
The person who hasn't been talking the least throughout the series.
I know, right? I think that it's actually a really nice moment when Miku basically says, I'm going to do what I please. I'm not going, and I thought that it might be selfish for me to actually want someone all to myself, but I can't say that I don't anymore. So I'm going to do what I want. But
being honest with her feelings.
Yeah, but you girls are welcome to do exactly what you want too. But I'm going to be the one to win. I thought that was a nice declaration of her, finally.
The declaration of war,
pretty much.
Like her favorite shogun warlords.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no kidding. I think that it was also kind of interesting that the reason why Futaro was sick, and we realize why, is because it was Raiha.
Yeah.
Just I got sick because of Raiha, probably. And then Yotsuba being really upset about the whole I've been dragging him around all day while he's been sick, probably all week or all weekend, because he seemed kind of off this whole time, and I've just been stringing him along pretty much. And then Itsuki comforting her, saying, no, he still had a good time, I think, in spite of it having a somewhat miserable ending.
The book.
Yeah, the book.
was kind of a little heartbreaking, because they realized how much
he had been looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that it was kind of hilarious that all of the girls were thinking the exact same thing. We need to go see him and try and comfort him, because we all feel guilty about this.
Yeah, in traditional harem fashion, all the girls show up in the end.
Yeah.
Although it was still kind of touching, because it was that harem bit, but there was also that little family kind of feeling behind it all, because they were all holding his hand at the same time. Yeah,
which we get a flash forward about 5 years, a little over 5 years.
Yeah, 5.5 years.
Yeah, something.
Because clever naming on the episode name. They're it was
Day of Fate 2000, and then Day of Fate 2000. It's wait, what?
Yeah, and I didn't quite get it, and then I was oh, days, and I just divided by 365, 5.5 years. That makes about sense.
And so, first off, in that flash forward, Raiha's hair looks so much more reasonable.
Yeah,
holy shit!
It doesn't look like she's just dipped it in a vat of fucking chemical goo.
Yeah, just like, whoop. Or as I said, kind of like that scene from Something About Mary, which you've never seen. But anyway, I think that it was kind of cool when Futaro was walking down the aisle, like, and then he notices Maida, like, the guy he kind of butted heads with before about Ichika, but he had danced with another girl and had ended up getting married to that girl. Which
He's our Cupid.
Yeah, he's the Cupid that brought us together. And I think though that the show is trying to be vague about who the wife is going to be.
Yeah.
But okay, fine. Like, I get that, and I guess you could say it could be anyone's game if you'd never read a harem series before.
Yeah, it
or
definitely,
had never seen a harem series.
The narrative focuses a lot on painting Itsuki as the canon choice, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, because for starters, she was the first girl he actually met and talked to. Usually in harem series, that's how it goes. The first person they interact with is usually the first girl they end up with in the end.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't always the case, but usually it is. Like, Love Hina did that, and a few other series that ended up doing that. Anyway, the second one being that she was
Negima do that?
No, Negima didn't do that. Negima was super ambiguous about it, actually. And Negima's all got, like, parallel, like, alternate paths and timelines and shit anyway, so throw that shit to the curb. But the other big one is that Itsuki was the first person who reached for his hand, which... Yeah. And so, I mean, it's revealed that, all 5 of them were holding his hand, and... like, each of them were holding a different finger, which...
And she was the last person to say something.
Yeah, until the last person to say something to him, like, in, like, the final, like, moments of the episode. So...
Yeah, but it's... Yeah, like you said, the bride looks, like, just vague enough to be anybody. Because her hair color looks kind of like Itsuki's, but is also kind of pinkish.
Yeah,
and it could be the lighting, and also she could have just dyed her hair.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, because the Quints had already looked exactly the same before.
Yeah, like I didn't even think about it until now that they have the exact same eye color, because I was like, oh, maybe we'll go back and find out that way.
Yeah, nope. Yeah, they all have the exact same eye color. The only thing really different about them is their hairstyles and personalities, pretty much. And I think that's all a point of just trying to be different from each other. Which maybe if they actually did stuff like let their hair be natural, it all would look the same, but I'm not sure. But like I said, I think it's going to be Itsuki in the end.
Yeah, I think there's more.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's an ongoing series.
Or
yes.
I don't think or maybe they just made that ending up for the show. Maybe it doesn't actually have one in the manga. If anybody knows that, please let us know. Don't let us know who it is.
Yeah, just don't let us know the bride.
If that was an anime original.
Yeah, for manga readers, let us know if that was a anime original thing, and if not, also let us know because we're idiots and we're probably never going to read the manga.
I was really hoping that he would walk down the aisle and the door would open and there would just be all 5 of them in wedding dresses right there.
Yeah, you thought that when Raiha was like kind of looking around the wedding hall and she sees like all these dresses just kind of hanging. You're thinking, no. Yeah.
I was thinking like, oh wow, yeah, I guess they're all marrying him. And I would have been 100% fine with that.
I'm almost certain that polygamy is illegal in Japan though, so...
It's fine, it's anime, who cares?
Yeah, who cares indeed. I'm surprised that there isn't like some like online conspiracy or something going on though about who was holding his fingers and stuff, because as I'd pointed out, like all the girls were just holding a different finger on his hand, and it was from left to right.
Were they holding the digit of the number they were?
Yeah, actually. And Yotsuba had his hand on his ring finger. I figured you'd get a kick out of that. Like that was like some BuzzFeed ass conspiracy or something. Like Yotsuba confirmed to be the actual wife. Click. You'll never see what happens next.
Oh my God.
And I don't know if we.
That's pretty much canon right now. Like you confirmed it.
I guess I did. Next up, Rising of the Shield Hero. This opening, like the first half of this episode, was kind of disappointing. Actually, it felt kind of static and underwhelming, this first fight against Glass.
Yeah, because it was very easily Glass dispatched the other three heroes like they were nothing. It's like, well, we want the plot to focus on Naofumi, so let's just conveniently knock these guys aside.
Yeah, and like she even says, why not just send those servants in front of us? I think that was actually pretty funny, but the big problem is it kind of felt like just like it felt like a scripted, like, JRPG. Like,
exactly.
You were supposed to lose, right?
The first boss fight, or the boss fight before the game actually starts.
Yeah, like, this is, like, in Paper Mario, like, you were basically just scripted to lose. Something like that. It felt exactly like that. Just, no matter what you do, you are screwed. Like,
yeah, I mean, there was a little bit clever, there's a clever little bit at the end where, when Naofumi realized that a timer was running out,
oh, yeah.
He's like, well, I don't have to beat her. I just have to not be here when the timer runs out, so she'll leave. So, then use the light and blah, 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 run away.
Yeah, I actually will say that was pretty clever. Like, and I was not expecting a timer to show up. I'm like, wait, where the fuck did that come from? When was this established? Shit like that.
So, last week we were a little confused about why Philo was freaking out.
Yeah. Somebody had pointed out to us, though.
Thank you to Vengeance and Vanity on Twitter for bringing that up. That obviously, she ate the fucking dragon crystal or whatever.
Yeah.
She gave Naofumi a little bit of it. He's like, "Where's the rest?" I ate it.
Yeah, I that had completely slipped my mind. Like, I had completely forgotten about that. So yeah, we're idiots. To nobody's shock, but I think that it was also just They also did, like, something I don't think you're supposed to do in big series like this, because the thing is, he activated the Iron Maiden last episode, which was awesome. Like, that was a really cool, that was like the showstopper. He did it this time. It was incredibly underwhelming.
Yeah.
Like, partly because, yes, Glass was able to quickly dispel it, but the initial hype behind it is gone, because that's like... It's kind of like seeing Goku do, like, a Kamehameha. Like, that's, like, his, like, signature move. That's his showstopper. Like, you have to space him out just enough to where it feels, like, ridiculously epic and awesome.
I think, you have a good point, but I think you're thinking more along the lines of, like, a Spirit Bomb.
Yeah.
Because, he fires off Kamehamehas like he's throwing candy to orphans. But, yeah, the Spirit Bomb is, like, the thing.
Yeah.
Like, the thing to stop the enemy.
Yeah, exactly. And the Iron Maiden... And they didn't really do that with this.
Yeah, like, the intention, I'm assuming, is to make to really show us how powerful his character was, because you got his ultimate attack that beats that enemy in one hit, and then it does nothing to this thing. But I didn't really. It just felt kind of bleh.
Yeah, it just they showed it twice in a row, way too soon. So there was no hype factor. Like, oh, are we gonna see that again? Oh, when are we going to see it? When are we going to see? Oh, I guess we're going to see it in the next episode. There's just no build up. There's no tension. There's no suspense. It felt really awkward.
That whole section of the episode was not very good. The other half I thought was pretty good. It was really satisfying. I will say that.
Oh,
just,
yeah.
When the king asks him, he's like, "Well, traditionally, people grovel before they ask information."
And he doesn't even say it at first. He points at the ground first, and then he says it. Like, if
that
you're really
smug ass look on his face.
Yeah, it's like they have to say, "Pardon my ignorance," but just that was really hilarious. And the little chase scene when Glass is shooting from the ship, and you see I like Raftalia's little danger sense, her ear twitching, just
nice attention to detail.
It's cute. It's just cute, and it's kind of funny how that works out. But yeah, that moment when he told off the king was hilarious, and then
it was nice seeing the king shaking in his boots when he's like, "Oh, well, maybe I'll just go after your slaves."
And then Naofumi just
fucking death glare.
Yeah, just why don't you just fucking try it? If you so much as lay a finger on them, I dare you, because if you do, I will chase you to the ends of the earth and make you regret ever being born. Just the amount of vitriol and just that.
It was a good performance from the voice actor for sure.
Yeah, no, holy shit. I was like, oh man, that was chilling. And finally seeing him just stand up to this bastard who's been tormenting him this time.
It's just satisfying from the viewer perspective.
Yeah, just oh, thank fucking God, finally. He's actually he's burning the bridge horrendously, but I think
the bridge is not even there anymore.
Yeah, no, the bridge is non-existent. I'm contrary to what Melty would believe. She believes that the bridge can still be repaired.
Speaking of Melty, that
we get a 1-2 combo.
yeah,
of
I
smugness.
thought that was satisfying, but just seeing her fucking just shit all over mine is like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. I, as the crown princess, will deal with this situation.
Emphasis on the crown princess. Did you get that, big sis? I'm the crown princess.
I'm the princess and you're not. Neener, neener, neener.
Yeah.
And just seeing like Melty or Mine's face, just fucking so upset.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I revel in this. I will roll around in her upsetness.
Yeah, like I will take if there were tears, I would like freaking like paint my face and shit with them because
Just get a chalice and put it under her tears.
and just
A fine year.
It's like, fine year, just a couple minutes ago, so sweet. I think that it was really cool, like how it was Melty basically, or Malty rather, or I guess Mine, whatever name you prefer, trying to insult her, basically saying, oh, you're still a child, you still want him to baby you, but you can't be that way forever. And then how it just is completely flipped on her. I think that was just so clever and so, like, just satisfying to watch. It's great when seeing Mine getting put in her place.
The shopkeeper is just so... He's the best girl of the show, really.
Yeah, he's the best girl.
Like, cause it didn't feel forced or anything. How he started helping him, it's just they kind of started off as kind of forced business, and then eventually he realized how Nofumi wasn't the bad person everyone's painting him out to be.
Yeah, he was like the first person to kind of realize just how wrong everybody was, and he was actually kind of afraid to do business with him. But he's like, "Here, I'm not going to let you go out completely alone. Take this cloak."
And I like how they don't say it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he doesn't specifically go out of his way to say that, like, I know you're not a bad person or anything. It's just kind of implied through their interactions.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a nice little subtle narrative direction they're going with. And then how he's just like, oh yeah, well, we want a sword, and even in the retaliation, no, we gotta save money, but he just gives them like fucking 2 swords anyways.
Yeah, he gives them
for free.
He gives them a replacement sword for Raphtalia, because just like the one from before, and then a mana sword, which is supposed to be used on incorporeal enemies.
Probably a lightsaber, magic lightsaber.
Yeah, if it plays the lightsaber sound effect during that, I'm gonna just shit myself.
You give him a couple other things too, like the gloves.
Yeah, the gloves that he just gave to Philo.
Well, he gave them to him just in case Philo goes out of commission.
Well, no, I'm saying, but let Philo try it on, because might as well make Philo ridiculously strong as well as unnaturally quick.
Maybe she can use it to punch Modiyasu in the dick.
Oh man, that'd be super satisfying.
Titan strength.
No kidding. I like how when Melty finds them and basically is trying to convince Naofumi to like kind of smooth things over, which I appreciate the sentiment. Like, I do. Like, she just wants everybody to get along, and she, like, as a crown princess, she wants to see like alliances and stuff pan out. That all makes sense. And also as her father, and also the whole thing of, we need the heroes. If we are on bad terms with even one of them, bad things are going to happen to a lot of good people. So
yeah, she just wants the right thing to happen. She's like, you can't fight with each other. The king and the hero can't fight.
Yeah, like it's almost like it's supposed to be like a like it is a JRPG, and just like, this is off script. You're not supposed to be doing this. You're not supposed to be fighting.
I mean, she's saying the right thing. Like, she makes a lot of sense. Like, just stop, pissing each other off. I mean, even though, like, I mean, obviously the king started it.
Yeah, the king did definitely start it.
But, if you keep going back and forth forever, the argument's never going to end.
Exactly. And then I think it's kind of hilarious when she says, you'll be lost without the king's financial support. I was like, oh, how lost you are.
Flashback to Aqua just going,
just, oh, yeah, that's right. It's like, oh, wait, he's been the one raising his own money to buy his own accessories and shit. Yeah, I had almost completely forgotten about that. But there's a setup in place.
Yeah, because I am assuming that they knew Shield Hero would be able to block that attack. Because, like, he's the Shield Hero.
Yeah.
Of course he's going to be able to block a simple sword. They're probably setting him up some way to look like he's attacking the princess or kidnapping the princess or something.
Yeah. Which, it's sort of like it would be sort of like a a link to the past when all the guards are convinced that Zelda has been kidnapped by you, but you're actually the one saving her.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's exactly what they're trying to do here. Like, Mine is trying to basically make it look like, oh yeah, he kidnapped this dear crown princess. She won't be able to defend herself, anything like that, because gotta sully the shield hero's reputation even further.
She's just so fucking spiteful.
She is like comically evil.
Yeah,
like,
I think we said it every week how she's just the worst.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like most people wouldn't disagree with that. It doesn't seem like there's any real motivation for her, just out of pure spite is really all there is.
It's probably mostly along the lines of she's not the crown princess.
Yeah.
That's probably where a lot of her pissiness is coming from.
I wanna be the crown princess. I wanna.
So yeah, that's it was kind of a finale of this core, I guess technically.
Yeah,
I think the new LP is going to be next episode probably.
It might be, and the second core poster has been released already. And and it's showing Melty on screen, and she's like casting, I believe, water magic or something. Yeah. Which is actually kind of cool. You have a pretty well-balanced party. You've got Naofumi with protection and healing. You've got Raftalia as a swordsman, but also with light and shadow magic. And then you have Philo with wind magic. And now Melty, who I'm assuming is going to be the dedicated mage.
Yeah,
with water magic.
So next up is the finale of Run with the Wind. And oh my god, this was just a emotional journey.
Like, this has been one of the most emotional 6 months ever.
Yeah, for anime for me, for sure. It's just like following these guys throughout their entire journey and getting like slowly, progressively more and more into it. Yeah,
following these past 23 episodes, and this episode just capped it off perfectly. Like, I was kind of worried that the ending might be too schmaltzy or something like that, but no, it felt just as deserved as it needed to. Like, it wasn't too over the top or anything like that. It was 100% earned.
Yeah. Let's talk about Fujioka and Kakuru's interaction really quick, because Fujioka, I have so much respect for him as a character.
Yeah.
Because when he talked to Haiji, he was worried after we got the record of an hour 9 minutes.
Yeah.
For section 9. He's talking to Haiji, worried that Kakeru is going to pass him, and then none of his record is going to matter, and he's just going to be forgotten when Kakeru gets faster than him. And I love how Haiji just convinces him, like, no, you're not going to give up though. And he just kind of looks back and smiles. And it's all about keeping on.
Yeah, just it's all about the journey because that's exactly what Fujioka says. Is there even a finish line for us? Like, and it's like, well, in spite of that, you're not going to give up, are you? So basically implying, no, there is no finish line. You're just going to keep going.
Yeah. I loved Haiji's comment of Fujioka awakens Kakeru, and Kakeru spurns on Fujioka, and then they just keep going back and forth.
But where am I going? But where am I supposed to go?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of a little heartbreaking for Fujioka as soon as Kakeru finished a second.
I know!
Just, he beat his record by a second, and there's this moment of, like, fuck.
I actually felt kind of sad for Fujioka, but at the same time, Fujioka didn't feel all that heartbroken about it. Like, sure, he was disappointed. Like,
because that was his closing race in college.
Yeah, and he said, it's not over yet. Like, he just acknowledges, well, I was kind of expecting something like this.
That's why I said I have a lot of respect for him, because even though he lost, like, it was such an incredibly frustrating moment, he's still just looking forward.
Yeah, and instead. he just kept his composure. I think that it was such a nice moment too when Haiji was like seeing Kakeru getting ready to pass the sash over and basically just saying, "You are the form I've never been able to reach." Like, you were basically the embodiment of running. Like,
yeah, pretty much Kakeru is like the answer to running that he's been looking for.
Exactly, which I thought was super cool. And then finally passing off the sash, and then Haiji doing running it. anytime they focused on Haiji's legs, I was so goddamn nervous.
Yeah, it was such a really good, a really good sound choice design. Whenever they focused on his leg, they kind of played like a creaking wheel.
Oh god,
sound effect.
Yeah, I was like, oh god, because like you know that it's like. You know that he's pushing it, you know that it might be able to still make it, but the fact that it's still creaking like that is not a good sign.
Yeah, I think that most of the beginning of the race, he didn't really feel it too much.
Yeah.
Because as we got revealed, I think it was the morning of the race, he took a lot of took a little bit of painkillers.
Yeah, he took some painkillers, but as the race progressed, the painkillers had begun to wear off. And
and the wheel sound effect actually gets louder and louder and louder. Up until the end, where you just hear the snapping noise.
Oh god, yeah, that was, and just like the way they'd shown it before, like when everything went into negative, and Haiji's leg, like wound, had been like just shown in like bright visceral red, and just that expression on his face.
Yeah, it looked like he was actually about to pass out from the pain he was going through. Like his eyes were rolled back, and he was about to fall over,
and his teeth were like ridiculously clenched.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like I don't think I've ever gone through anything that painful.
Yeah, and there was also a nice, cute little moment when Musa asked finally, like after some prodding from the other guys, like, and just like a little like funny visual joke, like they kind of bump Musa's arm, and then they just go, like just ask her,
yeah,
and then like her face as when she realizes that, and then just Kakeru being the one to wait for Haiji at the finish line, and just like his face, like being all excited, like you're almost there, just keep going. But then for like that brief second, he sees like that Haiji's face is just twisted in pain.
Yeah, Kakeru is the only person at all there who notices that. I'm assuming Haiji's pain was probably, or at least his reaction was exaggerated for the audience. I'm assuming a little bit, because literally no one else noticed that besides Kakeru, because he was watching Haiji so intently.
Yeah.
And it was so painful to watch, because Haiji realized that he's not going to give up, even though he's in intense agony.
Yeah.
He's going to put on a smile for the rest of his team and finish the race.
Yeah. And like that little moment when Kakeru basically says that you are also basically comes to the realization that you are running, like just that strength and determination, that what he admires, that's what he had ultimately been searching for as well, which I think is nice. A lot of people are going to like kind of throw that as a romance ship,
which it could be,
but I don't think there's any like evidence in the flash forward to indicate that, to be honest. But I think that it's more definitely just kind of sharing passion, sharing that sort of intense degree of friendship.
Exactly. Yeah, they are the goal. The goal that they wanted to find. They found it in each other. And, and it just kind of spurns them on to further their like careers in running, because later on, I think Haiji's like a coach.
Yeah, Haiji's a coach for a different school. The moment when Haiji crossed that finish line, it was so goddamn triumphant. Like just holy shit! Like I had never felt like so just like completely satisfied by it, and then the way they timed the credits was just absolutely fucking
and they
perfect.
Just roll in the credits and the music starts playing.
Yeah, and then you just that all the stories they're telling just through like no dialogue and just the music playing over it, like everybody just kind of hugging each other and crying like, oh my god, we did it. Haiji's leg just freaking trembling.
Yeah. And they didn't even just show the winners. Like, they showed Tokyo Sports.
Yeah, Sakaki's team.
Just him on the ground, just crying in frustration.
Because they lost their seeded spot by 2 seconds.
Yeah, because, well, I mean, not just because of Haiji. Obviously, everyone else put in a crazy amount of effort, too. But in the end, it was because Haiji was able to, like, push through that pain. And
push through, like, because, like, repeatedly throughout the race, you had the coach basically saying, so Yuki's calculated an estimate. At the pace you're going, you won't be able to beat Tokyo Sport.
He just had to keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. Which I think if he ran at a normal pace, he probably wouldn't have, like, wrecked his knee as bad. But he just had to keep going faster and faster to get them that seated spot.
Yeah, and, like, it was such a triumphant moment, and, like, it was, like, one of the best, most satisfying emotional payoffs for a series. And I would have been totally happy if the series had just ended there. But we get an after-credits scene, which...
Yeah, a very nice, well-done after-credits scene.
Yeah, like... it's just a few years later, 3 years later.
3 years, yeah.
And everybody's just kind of moving on with their lives. Like, Musa's staying in grad school, which is cool.
He's got a goatee now.
Yeah. King's actually got a job, which is really cool of him as well. Nico cut his hair, and looks pretty damn good, too. Prince looks about the same.
Yeah. Everyone looks good.
Yeah.
But now we got Kakeru being the captain of the team, along with Joji and Jota, which I was actually surprised that Jota ended up staying around for running. Mm-hmm. Because his whole conflict was, it's time for us to break apart and I'm going to let you do your own thing. But I'm assuming that him seeing Haiji at the end right there, along with the fact that they actually got to be a seeded team, probably kept him motivated enough. Maybe I will keep running for the rest of my college career at least. Yeah,
I think that was such a really it was a perfect capstone to a really good moment. And then everybody starts running again. You see, the Kansei team has gotten so much bigger.
Yeah, so many more people.
The dorm actually was being torn down, which is I think a nice moment, just sort of like the whole, it's kind of the end of an era. This was this was the building, and this was the team that started it all. And the Kansei team now is thriving. And there was even the nice little callback, everybody's sort of giving their own little speeches, just kind of interspersed with each other. With any ensemble cast, that's kind of an obligation to do that at this point.
Yeah, as an audience member, I want to see how everyone feels, how all the characters feel about that.
And then it ends with, I think, another really good callback, just the first line that Haiji said to Kakeru.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, do you like running?
Yeah, and then it just cuts off right there.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
It was so good. This was such an emotional series. Probably the best damn sports anime I've seen.
Yeah, I'd have to think about it, but recently, for sure, it's the best sports anime I've ever seen.
No kidding.
Like you said, it was just a perfect capping off.
Yeah, exactly.
To this series. So that's going to be the end of that's going to be the end of winter.
Yeah, that's the end of winter 2019. Yeah. As we've already acknowledged, there are a couple series that are going to be carrying into spring, which are Mob Psycho and Magnificent KOTOBUKI. We will be covering those alongside the remaining...
Yeah, we'll be talking about the final episode of those shows alongside with all the new stuff. It's going to be...
This is the new shit!
Lots of new stuff to watch. I don't know about this first week.
Yeah, this first week I think is going to be pretty lax, but...
Yeah, but for sure, we have so many things we want to check out for spring. There's a lot of good-looking stuff, and a lot of stuff that's not... we don't know yet, but we're going to check it out anyways.
We are also going to be doing our Winter 2019 season review here after these last two episodes are aired, because we are still considering those shows that are supposed to have concluded in winter, so we're gonna just consider them part of those series that we've completed.
Yeah, the season review will probably come out about week 3 of spring.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we're gonna have to go through a couple weeks of saying winter instead of spring,
and then correcting ourselves and saying, "Oh shit, yeah." But if you guys enjoyed listening to this, tune in next week. We'll be moving into spring 2019. Still gonna be weird saying that.
If you got any comments or things you think we didn't notice, things you'd like to bring up, go ahead and leave a comment down in the comment section.
And if you just want to listen to two idiots ramble like jackasses or 8-year-olds about Japanese cartoons, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. It's fun hanging out with you guys.
Yes, goodbye everyone. This concludes our final episode of the Timesink ASMR podcast. Thank you for joining this very long season.
Until then, anchor away.
Bye.
And we'll see you next time.
It's paper.